So I'm going to kind of go through each question from 4.2.3 and talk about them. And then we can slowly solve whatever we need to. So we already started talking about the bus question during class. I got too much stuff on my desk that you would think is big enough. So the misconception here was that it was $35 per student, or $350 no matter what. That's the cost of the bus no matter what. But this is asking us per student. So bus cost per student tells us to set up the math of the bus cost per, or divided by, the number of students. So to get our answers here, like to get this answer that I haven't done yet, we're going to take the cost of the total bus and divide it by how many kids we're going to put on the bus. And that is going to come out, I believe, to be $17.50, but I'm going to grab my calculator if I have one. Yep. So remember that anytime we see per here, and I don't know if I said per up in here, but per always indicates that we have a division to do. Does that make sense for number 51, or do we have any questions left about that? All good? Katie? All good? Yeah. Okay. So then, on the back, we did this together. This is called substitution, because they give us the degrees in Fahrenheit, and our formula tells us that F in the formula is our Fahrenheit value. So to calculate the Celsius temperature, we plug in 350, where the F is, and then we do the math following the order of operations. And because I doubt my oven has decimals, I could round that to a whole number. Any questions on that one? I'm going to stop using red because red is too intense for me. It's that holiday season. Might as well switch to green. What do we need before we can add or subtract fractions? Common denominators. So 5 and 6, when I think about dealing with 5 and 6, a nice kind of common denominator that might jump out at me. What's 5 times 6? 30. So I could use 30 as a common denominator. I just have to ask myself how to get there. So times 6 times 6 times 5 times 5. Any questions on what I'm doing here? Multiplying by giant 1, essentially. I get 12 over 30 minus 5 over 30. Yeah, now we can actually do the subtraction. B is actually slightly easier because we only need to change one of the denominators. 7 can become 14. Careful, you're close. So when I do this, I get 6/14 minus 7/14. If I have 6 and I subtract 7, where do I end up? Positive? Negative, right? Because we're taking 7 away from 6. We end up negative. Katie, you all good on those two? Just double checking because that's why we're here. Wait.
I thought I had that done, and then I looked up, and then I got the answer wrong.
So we do times 2 times 2 because we want to turn the denominator into 14.
Yeah.
You with me on that?
Yeah,
Then 6 take away 7
Oh.
makes negative. Cool. With C, we got 8 and 3 as our denominators. So, common denominator there. Probably just 8 times 3, right? What's 8 times 3? 24. So we do times 3 on top and bottom here, times 8 on top and bottom here. 15. 16. Uh-oh. Looks like that same sort of situation again. We're taking away, we're subtracting more than what we started with. So our answer is going to end up negative 1/24. Probability. Let's make sure that we understand this question. It tells us the probability of getting white is 1 out of 5. I'm going to write that out.
Can I say something? I don't even know what's right answer.
Absolutely.
35 out of 105?
I'm not sure. I got to solve this. I
Okay.
seriously don't know. So, I mean, I can pull up the answer key really quickly, but especially since I'm recording, we might as well solve this. So remember, this means that if the bag had 5, one of them is white, right? 1 white out of a total of 5. So then they say, if there are 37 white, would that go on top or bottom? Well, remember, the bottom's the total, so the top is how many white we have. How do I go from 1 to 37? I'll multiply by 37. So we do the same on bottom. Ooh, it's 185. Is that what you had said?
75.
So double check if you did that in a calculator. And if you didn't do it in a calculator, we probably just made a small math mistake. Yeah, so if on top it multiplied by 35. So actually, what you multiplied by was 35. If you're off by 10, you multiplied by 35 instead of 37. I wonder if you just hit the wrong number in your calculator. And then it is not required. But remember, if we're doing division by a fraction, we actually multiply by the reciprocal. So the unit rate is always solving for one of it. So this 4.20 divided by 1/2 would actually be 4.2 times 2. So like this would be 840. This would be times 3 over 2, right? The division flips. Times 3 over 2. So this would actually be 450 over 2, which comes out to be like 225. And if you want to practice more of these, come see me. We can do more of these. But we should probably look at 4.2.4 at this point.